Now at 9, Medicaid cuts are coming, but how will they affect your health care?
Local businesses in McDonald County get the opportunity to learn how legislation at the state and national level can impact them. I'm Samantha Walker, and I'll have that story coming up.
Search crews are battling difficult conditions as the number of missing continues to climb here in Central Texas. I'm Connor Hansen in Kerr County with a look at the latest on the rescue efforts coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A woman is dead following a fire on the outskirts of Fort Scott. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. According to the State Fire Marshal's office, it happened in the 2200 block of Osage Road shortly before 5 p.m. yesterday. The Scott Township, Fort Scott, and Bourbon County District 3 fire departments responded to the fire where a woman with mobility issues was trapped. Firefighters discovered the woman dead in her bed in the living room. The fire marshal's office says there's nothing suspicious about the fire at this time. A Topeka, Kansas man learns his fate for his role in a 2024 fatal crash in Jasper County, Missouri. The crash happened about 7 months ago on December 7th. Authorities responded to a report of a rollover on Sumac Road and County Road 280 in Jasper County. Troopers say a compact SUV pulled into the path of another car, causing it to overturn. Crystal Emery from Asbury was in that car. She died of her injuries at Freeman West. Authorities arrested the SUV driver, Malachi Doyle, who was then 20 years old. Today, a Southwest Missouri judge sentenced Doyle to 2 years of unsupervised probation for the crash that killed Crystal Emery from Asbury. Authorities had originally charged Doyle with multiple charges, including DWI, causing the death of another. But as part of the plea bargain, authorities dropped the DUI charge. 6-month jail sentence was also suspended. Doyle will have to pay more than $300 in fines and court costs. Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty joins us with a first look at weather.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a hot, humid day for us today. Temperatures up there. Once again, most of us kind of 90 to about 92. We have pretty much clear skies. We're going to stick with the clear skies as we go through the overnight hours. We're going to drop back near 70, heating up once again tomorrow, 90 to about 92 degrees. Plenty of sunshine. 91 was our high today, very close to our average. 90. 102 is the record set back in 1980. Haven't had that much rain so far over this month, a little over a quarter of an inch officially at the Joplin Airport. Some areas a lot more than that. 81 in Joplin, 79 is where we sit in Pittsburgh. Most of us upper 70s to lower 80s. Again, we'll drop back near 70. Rain chances returning as we head into the weekend. We're going to look at that here in a bit.
All right, thanks, Doug. Area health providers say changes are unknown after President Trump signed his budget bill last week. Now, one thing in question, how cuts to Medicaid funding could impact those seeking health care. Take a look. This is data from Medicaid.gov. In Missouri, more than 1 million people are signed up for Medicaid and CHIP services. In Kansas, more than 400,000 and over 900,000 in Oklahoma. KOAM's Ty Parks spoke with a state senator and local health providers to find out how these cuts will play out.
We just don't know. Our patients rely heavily on Medicaid, so obviously we're very concerned and we're trying to look into the facts, but we just don't have the information, the data right now to know how is this going to impact Missouri and what are the changes going to be.
Stephen Douglas handles the media and public relations for Access Family Care in Missouri. He says a lot of their patients are on Medicaid. On the 4th, the president signed the One Big Beautiful Bill Act into law. It includes over $1 trillion in cuts to Medicaid over the next decade. Supporters of the bill, like Kansas Senator Roger Marshall, says despite the cuts, Medicaid will still be there for those who need it.
We're protecting it. We're saving it for those who need it the most. This is something I've been working on since New Year's Eve when I sat down with Dr. Oz and kind of made a plan going for the future. But we're going to make sure that seniors in nursing homes, people with disabilities, children, pregnant women, we're going to make sure that they have Medicaid.
Hospitals and other healthcare providers in the 4 states are taking a more cautious approach and say much is still in the air. Mercy released this statement, saying in part, caring for those in need regardless of their ability to pay has always been the heart of Mercy's mission. Cuts to Medicaid are a serious setback to our patients and to every American. Not only can this lead to longer wait times in the emergency room for everybody, but it prevents patients from addressing underlying or chronic needs, and it puts an even greater financial burden on patients, hospitals, and the U.S. economy. For those Access Family patients who think they may be on the chopping block, Douglas wants them to hold on for the next 12 months.
So we're going to do all we can to serve them and to advocate for them, and we're going to be right by their side through all of this.
Ty Parks, KOAM News.
Freeman Health System released a statement stating in part they reaffirm their belief that Medicaid is a vital resource for Missourians. Outside of the cuts to Medicaid, Freeman stated they're reviewing other legislation that could help strengthen rural health care delivery in the future. Well, cuts to Medicaid funding are just one part of Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act. And this afternoon, local business owners in McDonald County learned more about how the federal legislation will impact them. It was part of a lunch and learn event hosted by the McDonald County Chamber of Commerce. KOAM's Samantha Walker has more from the event.
For many local businesses, the past few years have not been easy.
We were thinking about it the other day. We've been through the Great Recession. We've been through so many different cycles. And yeah, it is just really difficult for a small business to continue.
And while focusing to stay afloat, it can be hard to focus on what's happening legislatively at the state and national level.
You know, even for me, I don't really pay as much attention as I should to the legislation.
The McDonald County Chamber of Commerce knows there's a lot of topics business owners are trying to stay on top of.
You know, the lifeblood of this county is small business, and as small business goes, so goes the county. So the more we can grow the vibrancy of the county, the small business community, the more we can grow the vibrancy in the whole county.
A representative from the National Federation of Independent Businesses spoke to business owners about what they're doing to support them, as well as answer questions about recent legislation. Topics included action taken to address minimum wage and sick leave concerns in Missouri, to why the Federation sees the recently passed Big Beautiful Bill as a win for businesses across the country.
The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017 was an incredible bonus for business owners as well as other citizens and their employees. We were fighting for the last 6 years to make sure that it didn't expire with the Main Street Tax Certainty Act that got absorbed into the Big Beautiful Bill. Big Beautiful Bill was not only a win for us and our members, but it was a win for businesses in general. That way, business owners can continue to grow their business, continue to hire employees, continue to pay them, and feel certainty in the future that these protections are not going to be taken away from them.
They say while the Big Beautiful Bill may not be perfect for everyone, it's a big win for small businesses like those in McDonald County.
There are a lot of things in that bill that do impact small business, and to the good.
Business owners like Cooper say they have a bit more hope.
They're focusing on bringing manufacturing back. They're focusing on tariffing those countries that don't play fair. And so that allows our craftsmen, our machinists, our labor to begin to come up.
Reporting in McDonald County, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
Another issue local business owners say they're concerned about is property taxes, and that'll be the topic of the next Lunch and Learn hosted by the McDonald County Chamber of Commerce. Well, coming up, ceasefire talks in Gaza are heating up. President Trump is optimistic about a breakthrough after meeting with Netanyahu. Could peace be just days away? But up first, pneumonia cases are on the rise in southwest Missouri this summer, why experts warn not to ignore the symptoms.
Nominate your fourth studio. Join us at 7 a.m.
Medical professionals say there's an increase in pneumonia cases in some parts of southwest Missouri, specifically in adults ages 30 to 60 years old. Reagan DiTrolio talked to doctors and nurse practitioners on what they're treating in the hospital.
I've seen a lot in just 30-year-old women, men that are healthy otherwise, and they were hit hard.
Keisha Hooper is a nurse practitioner with Citizens Memorial Hospital. She says there could be a variety of reasons as to why pneumonia cases are high this time of year.
We're in the summer months as well with travel and holidays, so we're gathering in close proximity with others. I think all factors are playing a role in why we're seeing such a spike in pneumonia cases this summer.
Hooper says pneumonia is not just an infection you need to worry about in the winter months.
I just think it's very important for people to be aware that pneumonia, viral illnesses, respiratory illnesses are not an isolated seasonal illness. They can still occur in the summer months.
There's also other respiratory infections on the rise. You can see in this chart from the Center for Disease Control from July 2024 to February of this year, we start to see an increase in December for flu and COVID hospitalizations, with peaks reached here in January and February. Dr. Barbara Bumberry with Mercy Hospital in Springfield says you must take pneumonia symptoms seriously.
You're going to have similar symptoms as other less severe upper respiratory infections, fever, chills, but you may be running a higher fever for a longer period of time, coughing, productive or dry, shortness of breath.
If it's not responding to the over-the-counter decongestants or things that you've tried at home and you're not getting any better, any relief, definitely pneumonia is a potential.
Well, in both Kansas and Oklahoma, the CDC reports the overall level of acute respiratory illness, including pneumonia, at very low levels. Well, rates of early onset gastrointestinal cancer are rising worldwide. Research published by Oxford University Press shows cases rising in the U.S. and other high-income countries, with people born in 1990 twice as likely to develop colon cancer as people born in 1950. In the U.S., early onset colorectal cancer is now the leading cause of cancer deaths for men under 50 and the second leading cause for women under 50. Well, people with dementia are living longer. A study by the University of Waterloo looked at more than 1 million dementia patients over the age of 60 in several different countries. They found the reason dementia patients are living longer is likely due to progress in prevention and care and more effective treatments. KOAM, the Community Blood Center of the Ozarks, and local first responders are teaming up for the second Boots, Badges, and Bandages blood drive in Joplin. The event is a friendly competition between Joplin Police, EMS, and the fire department to see who has the greatest showing, meaning both community supporters and team members. After a strong turnout last year, organizers are aiming even higher this time around.
Mercy, Freeman, Cox Systems, all of the local hospitals in Joplin, Springfield, Northwest Arkansas, all depend on us, and we depend on our amazing donors.
This year's blood drive is July 26th at the Joplin Police Department's Public Training Center on Swede Lane in Joplin. Well, Doug is next with a complete look at your forecast. And later, Joplin celebrates unity with a new mural. We take you to the debut of All Aboard.
Brace your body, bright
culture, and Spiva Center for the Arts.
Well, it definitely turned out to be hot and humid for us today. Most of us into lower 90s across the region. Plenty of sunshine. We have clear skies right now as it is getting pitch dark outside. But what's going to happen as we go through the next couple days? Well, first off, our temperatures are going to be warm, kind of muggy outside when we start your Thursday. Light southerly winds, probably 5-ish miles per hour. Mid 80s by noon. Once we go into the afternoon, most of us 90, 91, 92 degrees. Once again, very similar to what we did see today. As we go into Friday morning, a few clouds kind of start to stream in. Mid 70s is where we are going to start. Once we get into the afternoon, I think most of us 90 to about 92 degrees once again. So it's going to be hot, humid, and dry over the next couple days. We do want to watch Friday evening. A band of showers and thunderstorms, most likely falling apart, but has a decent shot of getting in here Friday evening into Friday night. Here's 2 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. Going into Saturday morning, a band of showers and thunderstorms possibly pressing through. We'll see how this all sets up over the next 48 hours, but it looks fairly likely at this point in time. Day planner for you, 71 start, 88 by noon. High temp, 92 during the afternoon. Let's go outside. A great shot of our Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex tower cam. We are looking off toward the north and to the east. Temperatures mainly into the upper 70s to lower 80s across the region. Overall is looking still fairly warm. Our humidity is kind of up there. Look at our dew points. They've been sitting all day. It's measuring our moisture in the atmosphere at the surface in a degree fashion. Easiest way to put it. Mainly sitting 65 to about 70. So if you look at our dew point tracker, that makes it feel sticky to muggy, and that's where we're going to sit as we go through the next few days. So we still have a heat index. After 9 o'clock, it feels muggy. Lower 90s as the sun sets. Heat index mid to upper 90s as we go into the daytime hours for us tomorrow. And then even again on Friday, those heat indices upper 90s across the region. I want to go down the road just a little bit. I want you to notice big dome high pressure. We've been getting weak waves rotating through, but the high is close enough that it's making us hot and humid. Watch the area of high pressure. It breaks down as we go into the weekend, but at the same time, a wave rolls in, upping our chances for showers and thunderstorms. By early next week, a new dome of high pressure starts to develop. This lifts storms north, so mainly dry, through the middle of the week until a wave comes in late in the week. Then our flow goes out in the northwest, meaning it draws in some cooler air across the region, so our temperatures are going to be a little bit cooler for the second half of next week. But we do want to watch these rain chances on Saturday. Of course, we have the chances late Friday night into Saturday morning and then redeveloping again as we get into Saturday afternoon. 92 on your Thursday, 92 Friday, 88 Saturday, 87 on Sunday. Back into lower 90s Monday and Tuesday. And then look at the stretch from next Wednesday to Saturday, mid to upper 80s with lower humidity. So after kind of hot this week, that'll be a little bit nice.
Yeah, cool down. Something to look forward to instead of hot, just warm.
There you go.
All right, thanks, Doug. Well, the city of Joplin debuts a brand new mural this afternoon. A ribbon cutting ceremony for the mural took place at Smith's Flooring Stores. The Joplin Arts District partnered with Aloe Fiber on the mural, titled All Aboard, whose theme is a message of unity, welcoming everyone regardless of who or what they are.
This is why we have an arts district, is to have something community-oriented for us that are in here, and for people to come in and visit and see that it's fun to eat, play, live, shop here.
Nearly 40 people attended the event. All were treated to refreshments following the public debut. Well, coming up next, Taste the Rainbow.
Skittles may be sweet, but their bright colors mask a bitter truth. I'm Mike Emanuel in Washington. Coming up, why Health Secretary RFK Jr. is taking on one of the country's most iconic candy makers.
Rich Brewer.
Tasting the rainbow may also mean tasting synthetic food dyes, despite Health Secretary RFK Jr.'s push to get them out of our food supply. Fox News Chief Washington Correspondent Mike Emanuel explains.
The maker of Skittles is hitting the brakes on ditching artificial food dyes. Mars is one of the nation's most prominent candy makers that manufactures Skittles and M&Ms. But just 3 months into Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s efforts to eliminate synthetic food dyes from products nationwide, Mars is pushing back. It promised back in 2016 to drop artificial colors, but the company is still using dyes like Red 40 and Yellow 5.
The idea of M&Ms is a little tiny bite, right? And the little tiny bite can have a peanut flavor or a caramel flavor or a chocolate flavor. But who needs that outer space look?
Mars recently removed whitener titanium dioxide from Skittles in the U.S. after it was banned in the EU. But they're not budging on synthetic dyes. In a statement, Mars said most consumers, quote, do not in fact find artificial colors to be ingredients of concern. HHS responded to Fox saying, quote, it is disappointing that this company will prioritize removing artificial dyes in Europe, but will not do the same in America. The National Confectioners Association backed Mars up, telling Fox, quote, people can freely buy cannabis, but vibrantly colored candy is an issue? While candy makers are digging their heels in, food manufacturers, including Kraft Heinz, General Mills, and others, have committed to cutting synthetic dyes from their portfolios by the end of 2027. In Washington, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
The Newton County Fair kicks off today. Up next, highlights from day one.
Foodful.
The 58th annual Newton County Fair is officially underway. There's a lot going on at the fairgrounds in Neosho, Missouri. 4-Hers are busy showing their market livestock, from steers and goats to rabbits and chickens. A lot of work goes into getting each animal ready for fair season. In addition to livestock, the exhibit buildings are now open to the public, where you can view a variety of award-winning projects.
Used to, when I was little, we went to the fair and I saw all the stuff here that was going on, and I thought, wouldn't that be fun to make? So we started making it, and all the plants, the ink pens, art, everything.
The Newton County Fair runs through Saturday, and you'll find more information on the events page at KOAMnewsnow.com. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. A heartbreaking search continues in the Texas Hill Country as crews dig through debris, hoping to find more than 160 missing people. And tensions still high in the Middle East as Israeli strikes continue in Gaza, while Prime Minister Netanyahu holds more talks in Washington.
Water Gardens mission.
You're watching the 4 states' most watched news.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Days after a wall of water slammed into cabins along the Guadalupe River, rescue crews are still combing through layers of debris in the Texas heat. Dozens of people are still unaccounted for. Fox News correspondent Connor Hansen has the latest.
Crews are using excavators and their hands to comb through layers of dense debris in the Texas Hill Country. More than 160 people remain unaccounted for, and that number is expected to climb.
The hope is now just kind of processing grief.
But officials say a buildup of trees and even homes along the Guadalupe River is slowing down search efforts.
We're still spotting areas up and down the river where we can take apart these materials and hopefully locate some more of the missing.
As many wait to hear about their loved ones, volunteers are on the ground, providing emotional support to grieving families.
It hurts emotionally, but that's what they need from us, to see that we are there to cry with you, to hold you.
Meanwhile, officials in Kerr County are reviewing their response during the initial hours of the flood. They say due to the region's terrain and spotty cell service, evacuations are not always ideal, and it's sometimes safer to shelter in place.
And all of those low water crossings, when they flood, they create islands where you can't get in and you can't get out.
Well, the Trump administration sends another 7 countries tariff notices today, promising more are on the way. President Trump is extending the tariff deadline to August 1st after meeting with African leaders at the White House. 10% import tax remains in place, with higher rates on goods from China, steel, and cars. The White House says other countries are absorbing the cost, but critics argue small U.S. businesses are feeling the impact. The Treasury Department estimates tariffs have brought in $100 billion so far and could triple by year's end. Though there's no deal in place just yet, Trump administration officials say they're inching closer towards a ceasefire agreement in Gaza. Fox's Jared Halpern reports from the White House.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu holding more talks in Washington as Israeli forces continue to pound the Gaza Strip with airstrikes. Despite a pair of meetings this week with President Trump, so far no major breakthroughs have been made on a truce in the fighting. Netanyahu says any lasting peace would need to involve Hamas relinquishing control in Gaza.
We're going to take out Hamas, and we're going to make sure that Gaza no longer poses a threat to Israel or to anyone else.
Axios reports U.S. and Qatari officials held a secret meeting at the White House Tuesday that focused on the key sticking point in the negotiations, the extent of the withdrawal of IDF troops from Gaza. Today, President Trump seemed optimistic the two sides were moving closer to a ceasefire.
I will tell you, we're getting very close to a deal. We want to have peace. We want to get the hostages back. And I think we're close to doing it.
Palestinian officials also claim the Israelis are not allowing the unrestricted flow of humanitarian aid into Gaza.
We have our own distribution system that has been established to prevent Hamas from stealing the food that is supposed to go to the population.
U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff will travel to Qatar later this week to help mediate negotiations. The current framework would involve a 60-day pause in the fighting, along with the release of 10 living hostages and the remains of several others killed in captivity. Administration officials say the expectation is that a deal can still be reached by the end of the week. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Well, Doug is next with a complete look at your forecast. And later, think a cool dip is safe? Beware. Dangerous bacteria could be lurking in the summer waters. We'll keep you safe with expert tips.
Center for the Arts.
Lower 90s for this time of the year. Rule number 1, don't turn off your mic during a newscast or it doesn't pop on when you start talking. But hot, humid for us today. Pretty much clear skies, and that's what we got outside for us right now. Let's go ahead and zoom in. Temperatures are going to be lower 70s to start on Thursday. As we go through the day, mid 80s by noon. Once we get into the afternoon, I think most of us 90, 91, 92 degrees again. Those heat indices are going to be kind of high once again. Let me take you into Friday morning, mid 70s to start. Once we get into Friday afternoon, right back up there, 90, 91, 92 degrees. Now, we do got to watch chances for thunderstorms, which will try to get in here. So this is going to be mid to late evening on Friday. Showers, thunderstorms driving through the region, mainly along the north of I-44. Here's 2 a.m. We're going to get a much clearer picture on this as we get in. We're just now getting into 48 hours to when this is going to really push in. So once you get inside of 48 hours, the high-res models are much better. But right now, Saturday morning, starting with showers and thunderstorms. 71 in the morning, 88 by noon, high temp, 92 as we go into the afternoon hours. Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex Tower Cam. We are looking northeast right through downtown Joplin. Temperatures right now still sitting kind of upper 70s to near 80, but our humidity is high, so it still gives us heat indices feeling into lower 90s. Dew points are sitting right about 70, so it makes it feel muggy across the region. And our heat indices have been high all day long. They're going to be high again for us tomorrow. 95 to about 100 as we go through the afternoon. Let's go into Friday. Again, 95 to about 100 degrees. Let's go down the road. So our ridge starts to shut down a little bit. Here's our storm system for the weekend. This is a pretty big system for July because the jet stream's way up here. So it's a wave, and it'd be a very weak system for the month of April or May. As we go into early next week, high pressure builds down across very close to Memphis and allows a little return moisture, so hit and miss storms. But then we get another system the second half of next week, and that may cool us down briefly for about 2 or 3 days, which would be nice before the ridge and the heat start to build back in. All right, let's go through the weekend. So we know we'll most likely start with storms early Saturday, thunderstorms once again in the afternoon. And then once we go into Sunday morning, starting with some showers and thunderstorms clearing out, and then hit, miss, pop-up storms once again as we get into Sunday afternoon. Same trend, Sunday night into Monday morning, and then hit and miss storms once again as we get into Monday afternoon. Potential rain. We'll have to see where the heavier band's set up, but a lot of areas could pick up half an inch, maybe 2 inches over the next several days. All right, let's go 92s Thursday, Friday, 88 Saturday, 87 on Sunday, back into lower 90s again on Monday and Tuesday.
All right, a lot of fluctuation there, but we'll take it.
Up and down.
All right, thanks, Doug. Well, county fairs across the 4 states are in full swing at the Vernon County Youth Fairgrounds this morning. 4-H exhibitors checked in and weighed livestock as they prepared for the shows. Exhibitors were registering dairy goats and rabbits and weighing in dairy steers. For one 4-H member, county fairs are not just a chance to show off hard work, but also a way to build community and strong connection.
A lot of preparation. Depends what you're in. In dairy goats, it's just a lot of milking and just clipping their hoofs and stuff.
The Vernon County Fair runs through Saturday. Still ahead, Major League Baseball makes a change to its All-Star game. Plus, the Oklahoma City Thunder sign another one of their top players to a contract extension. John Dales has those stories and more up next in sports.
No problem.
Hey, welcome into sports. I'm John Dales, and last night the Joplin Outlaws bounced back from a slow start to their road trip. After losing 2 out of 3 to the Texarkana Rhinos, Joplin starts a series against Piney Woods and earned a 7-4 victory yesterday. Tonight, the Outlaws and Timber Hogs were set to play a doubleheader down in White Oak, Texas. However, that gets canceled due to rain in the area, so the two teams will instead play a doubleheader tomorrow before the Outlaws return for their Fort Scott series. Over in the Mink League, the Nevada Griffins play tonight as well. They drop one to the Sedalia Bombers. Final score 9-1. After tonight, Nevada continues its long road trip. Griffins' last 3 games have been away from home. They've got 5 more before they return to Lions Stadium. Next one is at Jefferson City. That's tomorrow night. In Major League Baseball and in tonight's Diamond Deep Dive, both the Royals and Cardinals play, and Kansas City has taken the first 2 games from the Pirates, so it has the chance to finish off a series sweep. Last time the Royals did that was a little bit under a month ago against the Texas Rangers, and they do it again tonight. Kansas City takes down Pittsburgh, final score 4-3. Salvador Perez got things started with a solo home run in the 2nd inning. Then he came to the plate with the score tied at 3 in the bottom of the 8th. And hit his 2nd home run of the day. This one proves to be the game winner. Royals are now 46-48 on the season, which is just 3 games back of the American League's final wildcard spot. Much different story in St. Louis. The Cardinals fall to the Nationals, final score 8-2. Tough outing for the Redbirds starting pitcher Andre Palante. He gives up 7 earned runs in just 6 innings of work, and despite the loss, Mason Wynn, he has a nice day at the plate. 3 hits for him and 1 RBI. These two will see each other for the series finale. That one gets started tomorrow at 6:45. Major League Baseball announces today it will be using an automated ball strike challenge system during Tuesday's All-Star game in Atlanta. Now, we've seen this used in spring training. Umpires behind home plate, they're still making judgment calls on what's a ball and what's a strike. But teams can challenge a call they feel the umpire got wrong, and the ABS system with an automated strike zone is then used as a reference. Teams will get 2 challenges apiece in the All-Star game. And closing things out with a look at pro basketball. Just last week, the Oklahoma City Thunder signed their star player Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to a long-term contract extension. And today, ESPN reports that OKC big man Chet Holmgren has agreed to a 5-year maximum rookie contract extension that can reach $250 million. The 23-year-old was the number 2 overall pick in the 2022 NBA draft. This extension would keep him under contract with OKC through the 2030-31 season. That's also the final year of SGA's newly signed contract extension. Holmgren has dealt with several injuries in his first few seasons in the NBA. Missed 3 months this year with the hip injury, but came back in February and was obviously a big part of the Thunder's run to a championship last month. That's it for sports. We're back right after this.
Sometimes there's nothing quite like a cold dip in a pool or pond to shake off the sweltering summer heat. But health experts say you'll want to be mindful about what could be floating around in the water with you. Sean Longill learns more about the potential dangers of some bacteria and how they could sour your fun this season.
While water parks, pools, and fountains are hot spots on hot summer days, health experts warn there can be potentially dangerous bacteria lurking around that can put a damper on your fun in the sun.
Pools, water parks, and fountains are a great way to beat the summer heat. Unfortunately, some germs can resist chlorine long enough to spread from one person to another. These include norovirus, bacteria like E. coli, and parasites like Cryptosporidium and Giardia.
According to Bill Sullivan, microbiology professor at Indiana University, one of the best ways to avoid getting sick is to not ingest the water.
Swallowing any of these germs can cause stomach problems like severe diarrhea, which can lead to dehydration. To avoid becoming infected, swim in well-maintained facilities.
But Professor Sullivan says we can all help prevent the spread of germs this season.
To avoid infecting others, stay out of public water for at least a week if you've been sick.
Meanwhile, ponds, rivers, and lakes can also contain similar germs that can cause stomach problems if swallowed. Open wounds, new tattoos, or piercings can also become infected if exposed to germs in the water.
So cover up with a waterproof bandage.
Meanwhile, if you prefer to go hiking instead of swimming, you could still encounter bacteria in water if you're not careful.
You might find water that looks clean enough to drink, but don't be tempted. Be sure to boil or properly filter water that you drink to avoid bacteria like E. coli and parasites.
Sean Lanchel, Fox News.
The Man of Steel is back to save your summer. Find out what's new in theaters and streaming up next. Superman is on the big screen and Dexter returns. Here's a look at this week's new releases with Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
The Man of Steel aims to steal the summer box office. Superman flies onto screens this week.
Quit messing around.
I'm not messing around. I'm doing important stuff.
The action-adventure, helmed by writer-director James Gunn, follows Superman drawn into conflicts at home and abroad. With his actions questioned, Lex Luthor takes the opportunity to get him out of the way. David Corenswet, Rachel Brosnahan, and Nicholas Hoult star.
You have to go through hell to achieve resurrection.
On streaming, Dexter Morgan is back in Dexter Resurrection on Paramount Plus with Showtime. Michael C. Hall's serial killer character wakes up from a coma and searches for his son in New York City, where both father and son navigate their own darkness. New casts joining the Dexter world include Uma Thurman and Peter Dinklage.
I am illegal in 92 countries. I cannot be going all the way to no Bahamas, honey.
Netflix adds Tyler Perry's Medea's Destination Wedding, with the family heading to the Bahamas for her grandniece's big day.
What is this place?
Disney Plus has Zombies 4: Dawn of the Vampires, with a summer road trip taking an unexpected detour into the middle of a rivalry between daywalkers and vampires.
This would be a medical breakthrough that could save countless lives.
There's also the current #1 Jurassic World Rebirth, the latest franchise installment for the dinos, which tops $322 million globally.
These dinosaurs were too dangerous for the original park.
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight. Thank you for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of a short-beaked echinida at a zoo in South Bend, Indiana. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.